Good evening, dear ones. Namaste. Welcome to today's class on Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. Let us begin the class with a prayer. Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, Friend, Beloved God, Bhagwan Krishna, Jesus Christ, Mahavatar Babaji, Lahiri Mahashay, Swami Shri Yukteswar Ji, Beloved Gurudev Paramhansa Yogananda Ji, Friend and Guide Swami Kriyananda Ji, Saints and sages of all religions, great sages Ved Vyas, Maharshi Patanjali, Adi Shankaracharya, humbly we bow at thy feet. Dear Divine Mother, train me to become a joy billionaire, finding my wealth in thy ever new bliss, and then sharing thy wealth of divine joy with everyone. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Let us call upon the Gurus by singing the hymn to Brahma. Let us sing today one of Sri Yukteswar Ji's chant, asking the children to wake up to meditation. Night has flown, dawn has come. Wake, my children, wake. Wake, my children, wake. Sitting in the asana of meditation, sitting in the asana of meditation, thinking of thy Guru's lotus feet. Let's take a moment of silence to feel the Guru's presence in our heart, inside our body. Feel him within, feel him watching you. Feel that he will be meditating through you, that it is his life that flows through your body. Let us hear a few thoughts about positive thinking by Swami Kriyananda. As we think, so we become. And as we think, so our lives and circumstances become also. From the divine consciousness comes answers to all our questions and solutions to all our problems. It is in lower consciousness that confusion reigns. Think positively in everything you do, for in that way you help to attune yourself to the divine flow. One who is inwardly in tune with grace finds all things harmonious and beneficial being attracted to him. Positive thinking, combined with the sense of divine attunement, is never presumptuous, for it draws its power not from the ego, but from the consciousness of God's joy within. Let us do the following affirmation. My outer life is a reflection of my inner thoughts. Filled with the joy of God, I express his joy and harmony in everything I do. My outer life is a reflection of my inner thoughts. Filled with the joy of God, I express his joy and harmony in everything I do. My outer life is a reflection of my inner thoughts. Filled with the joy of God, I express his joy and harmony in everything I do. Mentally follow this prayer. Problems cannot exist, Lord, whenever thou art near. Give me strength always to hold thee in my heart. Om, peace. Amen. We now come to a story section. This is a story told by Paramahansa Yogananda. It is a bit longish story, but very interesting. So let's go for it. The name of the story is The Bad Man Who Was Preferred by God. Okay. The loving Lord of the universe has always visited ardent devotees. Sometimes before doing so, he sends messengers to find out those devotees who are worthy of darshan. In India, they tell a story about the time God sent Narada back to earth. In the West, Narada might be described as an archangel. He was a glorious being, freed from birth and death, and ever close to the Lord. During a former incarnation on earth, he had been a great devotee of God. And so it seemed that he should be easily able to discover others who were pursuing the Lord with will and ardor. Narada the archangel now came to earth incognito, garbed as an ascetic. In mountains and valleys and jungles all over India, he sought out the hermits and renunciates whose thoughts were centered on God and who performed all actions only for him. While ambling through a dark woodland one day, he spied a hoary anchorite. Anchorite means a tapasvi, an ascetic, practicing different kinds of postures and undergoing penances under the cool shade of a huge umbrella-like tamarind tree. As if he were merely a leisurely wanderer, Narada approached and greeted the ascetic, inquiring curiously, "Who are you and what are you doing?" "My name is Bhadrak," the hermit replied. "I am an old anchorite. I have been practicing rigorous physical discipline for 80 years. He added disconsolately, without achieving any marked results. Narada then introduced himself. "I am a special messenger sent by the Lord of the universe to seek out his true devotees." Realizing that at last his opportunity had come, the anchorite pompously assured Narada of his worthiness to be honored by the Lord. "Esteemed emissary," he said, "surely your eyes are now beholding the greatest devotee of the Lord of this earth. Think of it. For 80 years, rain or shine, I have practiced every imaginable technique of tortuous mental and physical self-discipline to attain knowledge and to find merit in the Lord's eyes." Narada was impressed. "Even though I am from those higher planes where greater accomplishments are possible, I am very much touched by your persistence," he assured the old man. Bhadrak had been brooding on his grievances while talking to Narada, and instead of being comforted by Narada's words, he spoke angrily. "Well then, since you are so close to the Lord, please find out why he has kept away from me for so long. When next you meet him, do ask why he has not responded to my disciplinary exercises. Will you promise me that?" Narada agreed to the old man's request and then resumed his search for earnest devotees of God. In one place, he paused to watch a most amusing incident taking place at the roadside. A very handsome and determined young man was trying to build a fence. Unfortunately, he was dead drunk, and his senses kept deceiving him. He had dug a series of holes for fence posts and was trying in vain to fit an unwieldy bamboo pole into one of these elusive holes. He would thump the pole on the ground all around, but he could not get it inside the hole. Several times he stumbled forward and almost tripped himself. At first, Narada thought this spectacle was very funny. But the young man began to call upon the Lord to come and help him. And when this brought no results, he became angry and began to threaten God with the curses and shouts. "You unfeeling, lazy God, what a fine friend you are. Come here now and help me to fix my pole in this hole, or I'll thrust the bamboo right through your hard heart." Just then, the young man's wandering gaze fastened on Narada, standing shocked and agape at the drunken one's temerity. His wrath diverted, the young man exclaimed, "You good-for-nothing idler, how dare you just stand there staring at me like that?" Taken aback, Narada said meekly, "Shall I help you to fix your bamboo pole?" "No," growled the young man. "I will accept no help but that of my divine friend, that sly eluder who has been playing hide and seek with me, who is even now hiding behind the clouds, trying to evade working with me." "You drunken fool," said Narada, "aren't you afraid to curse the omnipresent Lord?" "Oh no, he understands me better than you do," was the instant reply. "And who are you anyway?" demanded the swaying young man, trying to keep his eyes focused on the visitor. Narada answered truthfully, "I am a messenger from the all-powerful Lord, and I am searching out his true devotees on earth." "Oh," the young man exclaimed eagerly, "in that case, I ask you to please put in a good word for me when you see the divine friend. Even though I behave badly now and then and abuse the powers he gave me, please do remind him about me and ask him why he has been delaying his visit to me and when he is coming. For I have been waiting and eagerly expecting him." Narada felt sorry for the fellow, and so half reluctantly he agreed to the man's request, although he was privately thinking that this drunkard would have very little chance of meeting the Lord. After Narada had traveled all over and noted the names and accomplishments of many devotees, he suddenly felt so lonely for the Lord's loving smile and that he discarded his earthly form and rushed straight to the heavenly board, as swiftly as thought could carry him. In an instant, he was there before the beloved one, surrounded by a warm glow of divine love. "Welcome, dear Narada," said the Lord gently, and the light from his lotus eyes melted the last vestige of earthly tension that clung to his messenger's aura. "Tell me about your earthly excursions." Narada gave a full report, ending with description of the two devotees who seemed to exemplify opposite ends of the scale of virtue, the pious old anchorite and the intoxicated young man with the pole. "You know, beloved Lord, sometimes I think you are too hard to please and even cruel," Narada said seriously. "Think how you treated that anchorite Bhadrak, who has been waiting for 80 years for you under a tamarind tree. You know whom I mean?" The Lord thought for a moment and even sought a response from his all-recording heart. And he said, "No, I don't remember him." "Why? How can that be possible?" Narada exclaimed. "That devoted man has been practicing all sorts of harsh disciplines these 80 years just to attract your attention." But the Lord only shrugged indifferently. "No matter what the anchorite has been practicing, he has not yet touched my heart. What next?" Now, well, Narada began hesitantly. "By the roadside, I met," he didn't even complete his sentence, and the Lord says, "Oh yes, you met a drunken young man." "Now, how do you happen to remember him?" Narada asked complainingly. "Perhaps because the sacrilegious young fool was trying to poke you with a bamboo pole?" The Lord laughed heartily and seemed to be thinking about the impudent young man for some time before he turned his attention to the sulky-faced Narada. "Oh, my Narada," he said lovingly, "don't be angry and sarcastic with me, for I shall prove to you which of these two men you have just told me about is my true devotee." Having captured Narada's interest in the experiment, the Lord continued, "This is really very simple. Go back to earth again and first repair to the anchorite Bhadrak under the tamarind tree and say, 'I gave your message to the Lord of the universe, but he is very busy now, passing millions of elephants through the eye of a needle. When he gets through doing this job, he will visit you. After you get the anchorite's reaction to that, then go and tell the same thing to the drunken young man and watch his reaction. Then you will understand." Although Narada was baffled by the Lord's instruction, he had long since learned unquestioning faith in the commands of the Lord. So he thought himself back to earth and was at once standing under the tamarind tree, face to face with the long-suffering anchorite. The Ancient One looked up at him expectantly, but when the strange message had been delivered, he flew into a rage and began to shout, "Get out, you mocking messenger and your lying lord, and all the rest of your crazy crowd. Who ever heard of anyone passing elephants through the eye of the needle? What it means is that he'll never come. Maybe there isn't any Lord to come anyway." He was now trembling with fury and brandishing his pilgrim's staff. "I have wasted my life. This 80 years of discipline was nothing but folly. I am through. Do you hear? Through trying to please a crazy, non-existent God. Now I am sane again. For what little is this left of my life, I am going to resume my long neglected earthly pursuits." Narada was too horrified even to say a word, so he just disappeared. But the second part of his mission was not yet fulfilled. Dubiously, he came again to the roadside where he had met the noisy young man. This fellow was still there, and if possible, more drunk than ever. The fence was not yet completed, and he was laboring to bring the holes in the bamboo poles together. But no sooner had Narada appeared on the scene that the youth's earthly intoxication seemed to leave him. In its place, the premonition of great joy caused a divine intoxication which lighted his features as he came running and crying, "Hey there, Narada! What is my friend's reply to my message? What is his answer? When is he coming?" When he heard the Lord's strange message, he was not at all disconcerted, but began to dance around and around with joy, half speaking, half chanting. He who can send worlds through the eye of a needle in an instant, if he desires, has already finished passing those elephants through the eye of a needle. Now, any minute, he will be with me. And when he comes, he shall touch me but once, and I shall change. All my evil actions and bad habits will be drowned in my overwhelming love for him. So the young man danced in heavenly ecstasy, as do many devotees in India when divine joy becomes too great for their bodies. The feeble flesh cannot hold such immense bliss, and lest the very atoms fly apart and release their energy into the divine source which calls them, this bliss spills over into tears or into rhythmic movements of kirtan, into singing and dancing as an expression of this joy. And now, as the young man danced blissfully, Narada joined him, and soon they found the laughing lotus-eyed Lord was dancing with them. Vivekananda ji says, the moral of this story is, if you ever feel smug about practicing the techniques, I hope you will think of this story and be jolted into seeing things again in their true perspective. Practice of technique is not enough. Intellectual attainments are not enough. Going to church regularly or performing good actions in a mechanical way because it is the thing to do will never bring self-realization. Unless you love God, he will never himself reveal himself to you. Students who resemble the anchorite may strive for years only to turn aside from the path in a moment if faulty reasoning misleads them. Like the anchorite who knew that elephants cannot pass through the eye of a needle, they try to limit God's powers and manifestations to conform to their own small comprehension. But devotees who resemble the young man know that even if they have not been able to give up bad habits, they can bring God closer and closer by constantly calling upon him and expecting him to be present at all times, to take part in their daily lives as well as respond to them in their moments of prayer. They know that all things are possible to God and that most understanding lies beyond the intellect. When the devotee insistently demands the assistance and presence of God, lovingly visualizing him and believing in his omnipresence, then the Lord will reveal himself in some form. With the dawning of the light of his revelation, the darkness of evil habits will automatically be banished to reveal the untainted soul. No thought should be entertained that God loves devotees who have character weaknesses more than devotees without such frailties. But it is an undeniable truism that God prefers true devotees who love and yearn for him intensely, despite having inner weaknesses, to mechanical anchorites who observe all religious rules and practices, but who lack the God-alluring power of divine love. Spiritual exercises may produce some good results, But to lure God into the sanctuary of the heart, one must have divine devotion and love along with the practice of spiritual discipline. Love is above the law. God, who manifests through law but is above law, being the lawmaker, surrenders himself to the devotee who not only follows the law of spiritual living, but who offers the Lord his unconditional love. Love is the image and nature of God in every soul, and its power transcends all laws of ordinary living. Therefore, cultivate sincere love for God in your heart. Do not be satisfied only with painstakingly following dry religious customs and sacerdotal rituals. If you want to surely catch him, use a strong net of devotion and perseverance, woven with the mixed thread of adherence to the laws of super art of living and the silken cords of law transcending celestial love. Om, Om, Om. What a wonderful story, and what a wonderful lesson. I think the only lesson actually that we need to remember is that whatever we may do in life, if we have the love of the Lord in our heart, then everything else becomes secondary. And also Ramakrishna Paramahansa would say that when you're working, your one hand should be doing the work and the other hand should be holding the feet of Divine Mother. And when that work gets finished, your both hands should be holding the feet of Divine Mother. To call upon the Lord with all your heart. Open your heart to him. Tell him that you cannot breathe without him. You cannot think without him. That everything else is useless without him. You have to have only one desire. That is God alone. And once that is our main desire, then all the other desires automatically follow it. So we will remember, we will try to remember this lesson every day, that the most important, valuable, and rather priceless thing to develop is love and devotion for the Lord. And when we have that love and devotion for the Lord, we are able to love all others in that love. And then we are automatically free. So love is the path and love is the goal at the same time. The path begins in love and it ends in love. And that is why it is said that Bhakti Yoga is simpler to other forms of yoga like Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, because the path begins with love and it just merges with love. And you don't have to think, you don't have to reason. You have to be pure and sincere in your heart. And the Lord who is already in our heart will be revealed by the grace of the Guru. So dear friends, let's continue on our study of Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. We are studying the final and fourth chapter named Kaivalyapad, which we began last time. And just to reiterate what we did in the last class, we said in Sutra number 1, Patanjali said, Janam Aushadhi Mantra Tapaha Samadhiya Siddhya, means the siddhis can be attained by 5 methods. One is by birth, means people who have practiced in their previous births are born with the siddhis, and the example he gave was sage Kapila. Then Aushadhi means certain chemicals, rasayanas can cause you to go into trance-like states. Then he says mantras or specific incantations, use of repetitive words in a specific meter can actually take you towards siddhis. Then tapasya, asceticism can take you to siddhis, but you have to remember that when you are ascetic, you don't develop the I-ness that I have the power. Then the state of samadhi, which comes through the practice of bhakti, jnana, dhyana, all of that, that can take you to bring you many siddhis. And in this, the first sutra he says, then in the next sutra he says that among this, the best is samadhi. So our aim is to actually get to samadhi through various steps that Patanjali has given us already. He has defined Ashtanga Yoga from Yam, Niyam to Dharana, Dhyana and Samadhi. Okay. Then in the next sutra, he talked about how evolution happens from one species to the other, and that how just if we remove the obstructions, the nature flows on its own. And he gives the example of how the farmer creates channels, but the water can run through those channels once he removes the blockages that he himself has created. So he has a reservoir of water, but he has closed the gate, and he will open the gate when he wants. And as soon as he wants, he opens the gate, then he does not have to take the water to the field. The water will automatically flow along the channels to the field. So similarly, there are so many vrittis and so many obstacles, so many samskaras, vasanas are residing in our astral spine. And these are like blockages. All we have to do is, with the practice of yoga, we have to remove these obstructions. When we remove these obstructions, automatically the flow of divine energy happens to the spine, and it can go back to where it has descended. So it can go towards cosmic consciousness. But what we have to do is, by our practices, we have to remove all those obstacles. And the best way to remove obstacles that are lying along the spine is Kriya Yoga, because Kriya Yoga brings in that flood of energy in the spine and to the brain, where all the little eddies deposited along the spine, they are just simply washed off. Okay. Then sutra number 4, Patanjali, which do now, Patanjali says, Nirman Chaitanya Asmita Matrat, meaning from egoism alone proceed created minds. So basically what this means is that individual minds are created by identification with the individual self. So if we understand it on a cosmic scale, there is a cosmic intelligence, there is a cosmic mind. And then when I-ness comes in, then the minds are individualized. So every person begins with I-ness, and this is, I have a mind, and my mind can think such a thing. My intellect can evaluate such and such, that I am this person, I am this name, I am this form, I am this personality. Then this is my role in this world, and these things are mine, these achievements are mine. So everything begins with I-ness. And then once there is I-ness, then minds get separated. The cosmic mind gets separated into individualized minds. Okay. And this is what, Ramana Maharishi said the same thing. He said, when you wake up in the morning, the first thing is the I thought that comes in. All the other thoughts come after the I thought has become. So once there is the I thought, only then you will think, okay, now I have to do this work. Oh, why did that person say this to me? So everything starts with I, me, and mine. And then the mind gets attached to that, becomes the individualized mind, forgets that its source is the cosmic mind. And then, of course, begins the drama of the little I, the ego, that has now come into being separately. And now it wants to play a separate drama. It has its own dream sequence in the larger dream of God. Swami Kriyananda ji explains how when we can transcend the ego, then we are in the Nirvikalpa Samadhi, then what happens? So Kriyananda ji says that once Yogananda ji had explained that when one has attained Nirvikalpa Samadhi, means the 24/7 state of Samadhi, then there is freedom from all ego identity. And he said that during that state, you can actually feel an entire lifetime. You can visualize your past lifetimes. You can see the events of all of one lifetime. And now you know from the state of Nirvikalpa Samadhi that what you thought that you were doing was actually done by God the creator, God the drama writer, and God the director. So once you realize that whatever you thought was actually being done by God in all those lifetimes, then you are free. So once you know that I am not the doer, God is the doer, it's because it's a false identity. When I think that I am the doer, then I'm falsely associating myself to doership. And if I associate myself to doership, then all the response or result of my doership will come back to me. If I say God is the doer of everything, then all the karmic result or fruits of action also belong to him. So the entire spiritual path is coming to, and realizing the truth that God is the doer. Now, if all of us just look back in our lives from the time of our childhood, तब हमें लगा था कि हम ही कर रहे हैं जो हम कर रहे हैं, लेकिन अब मुड़ के देखेंगे तो आप पाएंगे कि सब कुछ भगवान ही कर रहे थे. जिस जिस जगह पे उनको आपको जिस समय पर भेजा गया, जिन लोगों से मुलाकात कराई गई, जो जो अपॉर्चुनिटीज आपके सामने आई, वो सभी भगवान ही प्ले कर रहे थे. ये हम इसी लाइफ टाइम में ही समझ सकते हैं अगर हम हल्का सा भी ओपन माइंडेडली इसको सोचेंगे मुड़ के. तो इफ दिस इज इट्स ट्रू फॉर दिस लाइफ एंड इट्स ट्रू फॉर ऑल द प्रीवियस लाइव्स. In fact, what I am today is a sum total of all my past lives. We must remember that what we are today is we have made ourselves into this is a plus summation of all the previous lifetimes, all the good, all the bad, all the vrittis, the vasanas, everything. So that is one aspect. If we consider I little self as the reality, then this is the aspect that today my egoic personality is a sum total of all the past. But when we transcend this, but as soon as we realize that, oh, I, the little self, am nothing. God is everything, and God is playing through me. God, the larger self, the Paramatman, has separated the Atman and identified it with a body-mind complex and is playing the role in this life. Then you become free. You know that you're not doing anything. And therefore, it is important that the mind is stuck to you because of the I thought. And therefore, Swamiji said, Master said, all spiritual texts says that spiritual freedom is attained by transcending the ego. And let's come to the Bhagavad Gita and the Mahabharata. We know that Bhishma Pitama represents the ego. और ego को इच्छा मृत्यु का वरदान है. जब तक ईगो खुद अपने आप को सरेंडर नहीं करेगी इनटू द कॉस्मिक आई, इनटू द परमात्मन, तब तक वो नहीं मर सकती. तीरों की शैया पे भी लेटे हुए भीष्म पितामह पूरा युद्ध देखते हैं और उसके बाद अपने प्राण त्यागते हैं. वो अपनी इच्छा से त्यागते हैं. तो ये हम सब में भीष्म पितामह, ईगो तो हम सभी हैं, सेपरेट रोल्स जो प्ले कर रहे हैं. तो ये हमारी इच्छा से ये ईगो को हमने प्रभु के चरणों में डालना है. गुरु की हेल्प से ये होगा. और जब ये हो जाएगा तो आप ये रियलाइज करेंगे आप तो हमेशा से ही फ्री थे. जो आपका बंधन है या ये डिल्यूजन है, आपका माइंड ये सोचता है कि वो बंधा हुआ है, लेकिन आप तो आत्मन हो, आप तो शुरू से ही फ्री थे, अभी भी फ्री हो. आपको कोई बांध नहीं सकता, आपको कोई मार नहीं सकता. यू आर इमॉर्टल. सो इसीलिए ये समझना जरूरी है कि ये जो मैकेनिक्स है, ये आईनेस से और माइंड और ये पूरा गेम जो चल रहा है, ये भगवान ने कितना मजेदार तरीके से डिजाइन किया गया है. एंड वंस यू नो हाउ इट इज बीन डिजाइन्ड, यू विल बी एबल टू ट्रांसेंड इट. ओके, सूत्र नंबर 5. प्रवृत्ति भेदे प्रयोजकम चित्तम एकम अनेकशाम. मीनिंग, though the activities of the different created minds are various, the one original cosmic mind is the controller of them all. So Master, what did Master say? Thoughts are universal and not individualized. So there is a cosmic mind. And according to your own thoughts and your own frequency, you will just download that particular frequency thoughts into yourself. And you will think that, oh, I am so smart and intelligent, I am creating so many new thoughts and ideas. And it is not so. There is a thought cloud. And according to your own attitudes and your own thought processes, you will draw those thoughts. So just as, many organs in the body, hands, feet, intestines, liver, eyes, all of these are under the control of one human mind, right? Similarly, all human minds are under the control of one cosmic mind. We must realize that. So again, that helps. Knowing this helps us to transcend the ego, that we are not so special. I mean, what's the big deal? For millennia, for trillions of years, billions of years, people have lived 60, 70, 100 years. They live and they go. What's the big thing about it? You look at it from Mars and say, I always, sometimes try to pull myself and say, okay, if I was on Mars, I would say, oh, every 100 years, a set of people comes, they do their drama and similar drama. And then they go away and they think, oh, I am so great. And then another batch comes and then another batch comes and they come and they go and they come and they go and they keep coming also. And they don't understand how foolish, they don't understand what's happening, So pull yourself away from your problems. Just take a bird's eye view, see the larger picture. This is what Patanjali is doing. He is telling you that your own mind is actually being controlled by the cosmic mind. But yes, you have been given free choice. Free choice by deciding what thoughts you think, you will attract similar thoughts. If you think about freedom, you think about God, you will attract freedom and God. You think about bondage, you think about sadness, you think about how bad things are, you will attract all of those things. So be very careful. The yogi is very alert and aware. He knows he has control over every thought that he thinks. That is our goal. Because once we have control over every thought we think, we will think only of God. Try. और ये तो बिल्कुल भी मुश्किल नहीं है, और कुछ करने की जरूरत ही नहीं है. भगवान का जाप जो लेते हैं लोग, तो इवन मैकेनिकली भी लो, तभी भी आप एटलीस्ट कुछ एनर्जी तो आप गॉड से रिप्लेस कर रहे हो हर समय. इसीलिए रामकृष्ण परमहंस कहते थे सारा टाइम आपका एक हाथ जो है वो माँ के चरणों में होना चाहिए. कहने का मतलब यही कि आपके माइंड में निरंतर भगवान का ध्यान रहना चाहिए, चाहे वो जप के रूप में हो, चाहे वो ध्यान के रूप में हो, चाहे वो सेवा के रूप में हो, लेकिन हर पल आपका ध्यान जो है वो भगवान के चरणों में रहना चाहिए. उनको पुकारना चाहिए, उनको बुलाना चाहिए, उनको थैंक यू कहना चाहिए, उनको आई लव यू कहना चाहिए all the time, and you will find your efficiency in this world will increase manyfold. Okay. So Swami Kriyananda also says this thing that although the actions of so many bodies may vary, if widely, the original chitta remains the same. Also very interesting extra meaning that I got from another book. It says, the soul remains the same. The I-ness creates the individual minds and keeps manufacturing new bodies based on the individual desires and karma. Okay, so what this is saying is that once we are in delusion and we say that I exist separately, then I have my own set of desires and attachments, my own vrittis and vasanas. When the physical body is shed, those vrittis, vasanas are still there. And therefore, my individualized mind will have to create a new body to actually work out all that karma. Okay, so there is one soul, and then there is the cosmic mind, then there is I-ness, then there is individual mind, and once it is individualized, then comes in the role of karma. I-ness se pare ho jao, karma apne aap khatam ho jayega. Okay. Sutra number 6. Tatra dhyanajam aneshayam, meaning the mind that has attained to perfect concentration or samadhi is the highest. So in this, Patanjali is clearly stated that, as compared to a mind that has taken some chemicals or doing some mantras or some tapasya, but once the mind has attained the samadhi state through paths like karma, jnana, bhakti and raja yoga, then that is the perfect mind. And what does the perfect mind mean? The perfect mind is that still mind which will reflect cosmic consciousness just as it is. So mind is of course a function of consciousness, but a perfect mind is that which can completely reflect the Atman in itself, the Paramatman in itself, and it is that purified mind which will make you understand that you and God are one. Okay. Sutra number 7. Karma Shukla Krishna Yoginaha Itresham Trividham. What does this mean? So एक आपने लूनर मंथ में सुना होगा कि एक होता है शुक्ल पक्ष, एक होता है कृष्ण पक्ष. और शुक्ल पक्ष क्या होता है? जब मून जो है वो बढ़ रहा होता है, और कृष्ण पक्ष जो है वो जब मून घट रहा होता है. तो कृष्ण को काला सांवला माना जाता है या काले कृष्ण माना जाता है. तो जब जो डार्क नाइट्स होती हैं उसको कृष्ण पक्ष कहते हैं, और जो व्हाइट नाइट्स होती हैं जिसमें मून बढ़ रहा होता है उसको हम शुक्ल पक्ष कहते हैं. तो ये बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग श्लोक है. इसमें पतंजलि कह रहे हैं, वर्क्स आर नाइदर ब्लैक nor white for the yogis, but for others they are threefold: black, white and mixed. Of course we know white means good and black means bad, and mixed of course we know what it means. When the yogi has attained a state of perfection, the actions of that man and the karma produced of those actions will not bind him, because he did not desire them. So he knows, a yogi or a freed man knows that whatever his actions he is doing now has been ordained by God. It is not arising of his own personal desire. Therefore, he is always free from the results of those actions. And sometimes many people ask, what is the result of the actions that are done by great saints like Lahiri Mahasaya, Sri Yukteswarji, or Paramahansa Yogananda? What happens? Because once an action has been initiated in this universe, so action is a movement. For the universe to be stable, that there has to be some fruit. But since there is no ego in the saints, so the fruit will not come to that ego. So what happens to the fruit? What happens as the result? It goes to the disciples. It goes to the family. And definitely Master said, my disciples come first. So whatever good karma has been done by the great saints, especially if we should think of our line of gurus, the fruits come to the disciples and to the family. And Master said that even if one soul frees himself in this lifetime, then 7 generations above and 7 generations below in your family tree will be uplifted. It's amazing. Okay, so we move on to this. So the yogi just keeps working on. He works to do good. He does good, but does not care for the result, and it will not come to him. But for the ordinary man who has not yet attained to the highest state, there are 3 types of actions: good actions, evil actions, and mixed actions. Sutra number 8. Tatast advipakan guna nam abhivyakti vasana nam. Meaning, from the threefold works, means good, bad, and mixed, they are manifested in each state only those desires which are fitting to that state alone. The others are held in abeyance for the meantime. We will just find out what this means. So Vivekananda gives a very beautiful example for this. He says, suppose I have made 3 kinds of karma: good, bad, and mixed. And suppose I die and become a god in heaven. The desires in the God body are not going to be the same as desires in a human body. The God body will not eat and drink because it does not require any material food. Then what becomes of my past unworked karmas, in which have to produce their effect as a desire to eat and drink? So those karmas will not be worked out. Where would these karmas go when I became a god? The answer is that desires can only manifest themselves in proper environments. Only those desires will come out for which the environment is fitted. The rest will remain stored up. In this life, we have made godly desires, many human desires, and many animal desires. If I take up a God body, only the God desires will come up, because for them the environment is suitable. And if I take up an animal body, only the animal desires will come up and the God desires will wait. What does that show? It shows the power of the environment. Master always said, environment is stronger than willpower. So according to the environment, things will be brought out of yourself. Make a conscious effort to improve your environment in physical, mental, emotional, spiritual ways, to beautify your environment, to cleanse the environment, to make sure there is the right vibration in your environment. Swami Kriyananda ji says, of ego-motivated acts, only those vasanas for which present conditions are favorable will bear karmic fruit in any particular incarnation. And he gives a kind of a negative example. For example, he says, if in some past life you have drowned someone in the ocean, but in this lifetime you have lived your whole life, either in the desert or near the mountains where there is no water, as in like the ocean or the lake, then your karma will catch up with you still. But in this case, it will have to wait for some future life. A yogi in Nirvikalpa Samadhi, however, can see in that state the eventual perfection of the working of the law of karma. So we have no idea what all actions we have performed in the past in the ego state. So What can we do? This is a big question. Now remember, let's remember Yoganandaji's life. It is in his birth chart, it predicted that he's going to be married 3 times. So somewhere that means he had a karma in previous lifetimes. Of course, we know in previous lifetimes he was married. So he had this karma of marriage. But then what did he advise? He said that if the seeds of karma are roasted in the fires of wisdom, they will not sprout. So that means whatever our karma has been in the past, if we now transmute and transcend that into God love, into God desires, into action that is only for God, with the thought of God, into meditation, then all of that can be roasted. So don't think that it's such a trap that you cannot get out of. Yes, there is Maya is a trap, and thinking that I am the doer is another trap. But there is a way out. And the way out is shown to us by the Guru through the techniques, through the teachings, and through his teaching that we should love God uppermost. That is the first most important thing, to love God. And of course, love, in the story that we read today, Master clearly said, love is above the law. So whatever law governs karma, it is there. Let it be in its place. But know that love is above the law. Therefore, appeal to God with a loving heart, with a heart full of love. Let love just overflow your being. May you cry tears for God's love. Just dissolve yourself in his love. Surrender to him. Tell him that I have no other. You are my only refuge. There is nowhere else to go. You have to. You are my father. You are my mother. You are my friend. You are my beloved. You are my life. You are my breath. You are all I have. Say it with a complete sense of self-offering. And God is the ever merciful and compassionate and loving God, who is our father and mother. Will he not love us? He loves us already. It's we who need to complete that circuit so that that love can just flow. Okay. Sutra number 9. This is also in continuation with the previous sutra that we did, which said in a particular body, those desires can come up. So again, see, Patanjali is telling you scientifically the fact of reincarnations, the fact of many species on this planet. And Yoganandaji talked about, he said, there is not life just on this planet. The whole universe is flooded with life. There is life even on the sun. So don't just think that this is the only life. Okay, Sutra number 9, Patanjali says, Jati, Desh, Kal, Vyavhita, Tanamapya, Anantarya, Smriti, Sanskaryo, Ekarupatvat, meaning there is connectiveness in desire, even though separated by species, space and time, there being identification of memory and impressions. इसको हम simplify करते हैं और प्रीवियस सूत्रा की कंटिन्यूटी में लेते हैं. सो इसमें पतंजलि कह रहे हैं कि सपोज अभी ह्यूमन बॉडी है, सपोज हमारा एक नेक्स्ट बर्थ जो है वो एनिमल बॉडी में होता है, तो ह्यूमन डिजायर्स जितनी भी अभी हमारे हैं वो हमारे अंदर हिडन रहेंगी और वो कहीं जाएंगी नहीं. फिर जब हमारे को नेक्स्ट ह्यूमन बॉडी मिलेगी तो हमारी, क्योंकि मेमोरी में एवरीथिंग, ऑल द डेटा इन ऑफ ऑल आवर पास्ट लाइव्स इज इनसाइड अस, that all that it's a blue chip inside us. Okay, so as soon as you get a human body again, the same continuity of desires will come up. You will not forget them, and then situations in which you have to work accordingly, they will arise and there will be a continuity. So all this knowledge is very, very baffling to think of it. That is why India, Hindu Shastra says so many millions of incarnations we need, and then we come to the human body, and then millions of incarnations in a human body, and then you get free. So in according to another story, it says how much time does it need for a person to become free? And is the example that is given is, think of a big lake. Now think of a small bird, and the small bird fills up her beak with the water from the lake and she pours it out in the ocean. And think that she has to pour out all the water of the lake with her beak into the ocean. It takes that much time. The world clock takes that much time. It's unfathomable. But there is a way out. There is a way out. नहीं तो सभी शास्त्र बेकार हैं. अगर सभी शास्त्र हमें यही बताना चाहते हैं कि तुम कितने पिटिएबल कंडीशन में मिजरेबली फंसे हो, तो कोई फायदा नहीं है. क्या जरूरत है पढ़ने की? लेकिन नहीं, शास्त्र हमें ये तो बताते ही हैं कि हम फंसे हुए हैं, लेकिन गुरु के रूप में शास्त्र हमें ये भी बताते हैं कि इसमें से निकलना कैसे है. How to stop this karma chakra, how to stop this wheel of life and death. And now that in this lifetime you have the opportunity that the Guru has come to you, all you have to do is follow him. This is a book in Buddhist literature called the Tibetan Book of the Dead. And I've read that book, and it explains in great detail how the steps of death happen and how which processes in the body will stop, how in various stages the soul leaves, and then what are the various realms that the soul can go to. And there are infinite realms where the soul can go. Okay, so but there is one common thread I found in that book. He said, the book says, as you pass the doors of physical life into the other realm, call upon your Guru. He will take you to where you are meant to go. He will take us to higher realms. And this is the promise of the Master. Paramahansa Yogananda clearly said, if you practice the teachings and techniques till the end of your life, I or one of the masters will be waiting for you at the gate that goes into eternity. This is the promise of the Guru. And it is the Guru who knows the shortest way out through this maze. It's an unfathomable maze beyond any small human intellect. The amount of life that there is in the universe, and each life has its own karmic cycle, and then you keep coming back again and again in various forms. How to get out? Catch hold of the Guru. The Guru is here only for this reason. He has come to free us. Let us utilize this lifetime to the best of our ability to hold on to him. He is going to take us up to freedom. It is our birthright. It is where our home is. He will take us there. All we need to do is just be loyal to that. And simply speaking, there are so many gurus, there are so many teachers, but let us simply remember one thing. Other mothers may be very smart, very beautiful, very talented, but my mother is my mother. Similarly, there may be other gurus who may appear to have miraculous powers or intellectually very, upgraded, yet my Guru is my Guru. It is he alone who will take me to freedom. It cannot be otherwise. And this is the way out. The door has been opened by the Guru. He's there. We are here. All we need to do is put in the effort. The teachings are there. The light is there. The technique is there. We need to just step into that light. We need to, by the way of life that we lead, by the techniques that we do, we basically attune our frequency to the frequency of light that the Guru is bringing down from eternity. If we just tune ourselves and our frequency becomes that frequency, we will ascend. So all the yam, niyam, asan, pranayam, pratyahar, dharana, dhyan, samadhi, all this Patanjali has given us so that we may align ourselves to the highest power, know what is happening in the universe, and yet be free from it and above it. Know that we are the children of God, we are made of light, and that this is just a human role and drama that we are playing temporarily. And by tuning ourselves with the Guru and with God's love, we are free and we shall be ever free. With that thought, dear friends, let us share the power of these teachings with souls everywhere. Let us pray together. Divine Mother, thou art omnipresent. Thou art in all thy children. Manifest thy healing presence in all bodies, all minds, and all souls. Om. 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 Divine Mother, may thy love shine forever on the sanctuary of our devotion, and may we be able to awaken thy love in all hearts. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.